Right. Well, today we have a list of topics that we're going to go through. My name is Garrett Jensen, and I will be conducting, and Kevin Nielsen and Todd Jensen will.
All right, start again.
Hey, come on, that was a good.
I'm Brother Jensen, and I'll be conducting this meeting.
I was trying to make it a little.
Kevin and Todd will be presiding.
We've got Kevin presiding.
We have Kevin presiding. All right, so some of the topics that we're going over today are the new Windows 8 platform, the iPad mini, which just launched a little bit ago, the Nexus devices, the Nexus 4, 7, and 10, wearable technology, and the future of where that is going to lead, which kind of encompasses Google Glass, the iPod Watch, and last but not least, green technology. So we are going to try to keep this at about an hour, and let's go ahead and start off with Windows 8, pros and cons, and kind of the overall view.
All right, so as Todd, have you messed with Windows 8 at all? Have you even played with it?
Yeah, just at Best Buy and the AT&T store. Anywhere I can find it, I mess around with it, but I don't know anyone that owns it yet.
I was in LA about 2 months ago, give or take, and I was playing with some of their things at the Microsoft store, and I was not impressed. Needless to be said, obviously, you and I both had Windows mobile phones back in 2008, but I just have not. I definitely understand Windows' perspective on why they're going this way. I think it's a smart move on their part, but is it pushing me further away from Windows or pulling me closer in? Unfortunately for me, I think it's pushing me far away because I have zero desire to mess around with the what is formerly known as the Metro interface. That does not interest me at all.
But when you say it pushes you away, what do you mean it pushes you away? Why would that push you away when you can just flip it off?
Well, because right now I'm sitting in. I have a foot in both camps. I am fully engrossed in Android. I have Android tablets, Android phones, but I still have a Windows computer. I'm still working on Windows 7. What I'm starting to lean towards, I'm on the fence, is do I stay with Windows on my desktop or do I go all 100% into Google and install a Chrome OS on my computers and go with it that way? I'm already using Google TV. They're basically kind of drawing a line in the sand and saying, well, either you go with Windows 8 and then one OS to rule them all, or you don't. And I kind of feel like they're saying either choose. They're kind of giving a lot of people the ultimatum. That's how I feel.
Why do you? Well, I guess I disagree a little bit. I don't find it really compelling. I mean, when I go and mess around with it, one, I think it's pretty awesome that they tried something new, and whether or not it sticks or not, I don't care. But the fact that a huge company like Microsoft would have the guts to really go after something so bold. Usually, you don't see big companies like that try to reinvent themselves. Like that boldly. I think companies generally get really conservative and get kind of lame when they get bigger. They make incremental changes and they don't go after something big. So I give them props for attempting to do something big and bold and making it cool. But I don't see how they're really locking anyone in. I don't see how they're. I mean, you can just flip it off, right? You can just get out of it once you do boot up, and I'm sure that in your settings you can just turn that interface off. So I don't see why there's really any risk here for them to try something awesome and cool and see if it sticks and try to shake things up, but at the same time give people the option just to turn it off. So I find it is the best way you could roll out a new program when you're as large as they are. You try not to disenfranchise the people that are currently using it by giving the option to shut it off, but yet you're big and bold for the new tablet generation, and I think this is a good approach to it. I don't necessarily like it, but that's my take on it. I don't see really why you would why you would not like it and feel like you're locked in. Where do you feel in that sense, Kat, that you're locked in?
It's not. I guess I don't think locked in is the word. I would just say, look, am I going to take the time to learn this new interface and learn how to move these tiles around and set all of that up. The change that they've made, to my understanding, is basically Windows 8 is nothing but the tiles. If you turn the tiles off, you're dealing with Windows 7. So why upgrade? So why upgrade at all?
Well, the good thing, I don't think anyone's going out there to upgrade per se. I think that's the reality that they're going to come to. That's the realization that they're going to come to, is the reality that no one's going to really be jumping through hoops to go and get the new interface. But because it's Microsoft and they have such a big foothold in the PC world and in the computer world in general, they're going to get people that see it, and as companies and new computers that come out have the new interface. So they don't need anyone to go out and proactively go out and get them. They're going to sneak into your home or your business one way or the other just because of the footprint they already have. So I don't think they necessarily need to go out and get customers and convince people that it's this cool new interface. It's just a matter of new PC tablets that you buy, and new PCs that you buy will have it already.
Well, this is what I think they're doing. They're saying that, look, people are starting to bring their own devices to work. Okay, people are starting to go around the idea that you come to your work and they hand you a phone and they hand you a laptop or whatever. Or so people are bringing their own stuff to work, and so the enterprise and the consumer markets are kind of meshing. And I think Windows realized that they need to get into this market. I do think, at the same time, I'm not really faulting them, because I do think that they need to do this. I think it's something important they need to do in order to make sure that they stay relevant and not just turn into an IBM, which I guess at the end of the day couldn't be a horrible thing. But they've got this great. They're the best positioned, I feel, right now to create a real ecosystem. What I mean by that is,
you mean like with the Xbox and everything like that? They tie everything together.
They have an Xbox, so they have the TV, they have the gaming with the Xbox, they have tablets, they have phones, and they have computers. They've tied it all together. Apple's lacking some things in the. I mean, their TV's okay, but they don't have Google gaming. Google has an okay TV. I don't promote my Google TV to anybody. I wouldn't suggest getting it, but they do have a good. They have really good, obviously, tablets and cell phones. They're getting in the computer OS. So none of them are really complete. The only one that is complete is Microsoft, and I think they need a push to get there. And I hope they're successful. I pray they're successful. That we need more competition in the marketplace.
So when you say they're complete, like they've got a complete ecosystem, that
they've made the circle.
I would say they have it. I mean, they
it's
have
not
it with their gaming console. The adoption, though, to that is incredibly low. I don't think anyone is in the Microsoft ecosystem or feels trapped into the Microsoft ecosystem.
Well, they can get out because there's no apps, so it's not. But me, I look at it and go, the only reason I'm at all compelled for Microsoft is because I play Xbox and I like Xbox and I play it. I have a Windows machine, so I'm kind of in that camp, but I can't jump out of the gaming camp because there's nothing else out there. I don't know. It's interesting. I think Microsoft has made a good push. I think by making it such a big, bold new interface, it's going to push me out of the computer space, and so I'm just going to go Chrome OS as soon as I can find a Chrome OS, that new Samsung Chrome OS laptop. As soon as I can find one, I'm going to go buy one.
So you think this is going to push you out?
Yeah. Because I don't want to learn all that. I don't even want to learn with it.
But you don't have to if you don't want to.
But I want simplicity, and so there's new OSs coming out. There's the Chrome OS in one hand and a Windows 8 on another. If I'm going to go to one or the other, I'm going to go to the one that I feel like I'm more ingrained in or that I want to invest more time in than the Windows 8. I don't have any desire.
And that's not getting you closer to an ecosystem. That's actually pulling you back out to where you're kind of agnostic again, because Google has no gaming ecosystem.
You're right.
Google's got a phone presence, obviously, with Android. They're starting to get a pretty robust internet presence with Chrome, and then with Chrome OS. I mean, right now they have. I don't think they have any market share on that per se. With the Chrome OS into the computer space, I guess I like. And Garrett, I'll let you in here in just a second. I guess I guess I like what they're doing, not necessarily because I like the ecosystem structure. I know everyone's trying to do that. I don't think this holds you in per se more than it did before. But if you think about the ecosystem, though, Kevin and Garrett, think of this. I mean, if you're going to tie in tablets, phones, gaming, and your computer, so there's 4 kind of tentacles to their ecosystem.
There's five.
What? your Ron Paul hand. What's the 5th one that I'm missing?
So gaming, TV, phone, tablet.
Oh,
computer.
TV. You're right, TV. So you're saying the TV one's covered with Xbox, right?
Yeah, they've done a good job.
So if you're going to tie these 5 things together, wouldn't you want an oversimplified?
Yes, I would.
Really a standard approach to all of that? Then I think this is a pretty good approach to that. I'm not saying it's the best in the world and they can come up with all kinds of different versions.
I agree. I think they did a good job. I just don't think – I don't want to jump in. Anyways.
And we talked about this earlier, Kevin, when you said what you use your computer, your desktop for every day-to-day things. You don't use programs like Photoshop and other things. So the transition to Chrome would obviously be a lot easier for you.
Very easy.
Because you're web-based. You're just really looking for connection to the internet and a few maybe Chrome apps or something.
And, other than, something on Google Docs, you could essentially do that seamlessly and it wouldn't be an issue. Other people might not be able to cut the cord.
Well, what do you use?
As easily.
So
I'm an Apple guy. So
yeah, but no.
I made the right choice. No.
Yeah. Right.
So, but Kev, think of everybody else that's going to be getting a new PC in the next 2 years. There's going to be millions and millions of people not even connected with their work, but a home PC. That's going to come pre-installed with this. That's going to give it a pretty good chance for adoption. Whether or not it takes, I don't think it will, but maybe people love it. Maybe my mom, maybe my sisters, maybe they love it. They like the tiles. And then, so let's say there's a little bit of adoption. Then they go and they see the same interface on a Windows phone when they go to get a new phone, and they recognize it. And then they see the same thing when their kids fire up the Xbox. Over time, I think you could get some adoption if they tweak it and change the colors and maybe some semi-transparency and some cool uses there. I think they might like that. The problem I have is every enterprise PC that's purchased. I don't think companies necessarily want the first thing their employees see is a live tile showing their social stuff.
That's a good point.
I don't think they're going to want that distraction. So I think you're automatically going to have that shifted off at the enterprise level, and so I think at the enterprise level it's going to stay almost exactly as it is now, where you log in, you see the same old Windows interface, but everywhere else you start to see these tiles. And,
I agree. I think
given a little time, I could see it catching on. I thought at the phone level the interface was kind of cool.
No, I do too. I just don't. So I agree with 100% what you say. I hope it catches on. Like I said, I want 3 players, and I just think Windows is best poised to close the loop, but the one that they're lacking on is tablets and phones. And
I thought at that level, though, this was a pretty good interface for those 2 things.
I agree, but I think that they may have tried to connect those 2 too much. I don't know for sure. I guess at the end of the day, my point is, all I'm trying to say is I agree with Windows strategy in order to see if they can get this going to try to make the loop, connect the loop quicker than anybody else. But
what is it that you don't like? Just the tiles? You don't like that interface?
I don't want the tiles. I want simplicity. If you look at my desktop, I've got nothing on it except for a picture of James Bond. So I don't want anything on there, and they're dirtying up the desktop. Chrome OS. So it's just pushing me to Chrome OS because it's really saying you're going to get in here with the tiles. But anyways, that's just my 2 cents.
So
well, you can choose not. You can choose to. I mean, you said you wanted 3 players, and now you're making an active choice to get one of these players out.
Of me, I don't want 3 players in my life. I want 3 players in the market.
Okay.
I'm not going to touch Apple stuff. I want a choice.
Well, that's because you're crazy and you don't understand high-valued goods when you see them.
So in the tech crystal ball, Kevin gives it the thumbs up in hoping it's successful, but doesn't really.
But hating it personally.
But it doesn't. It's not a good fit, So
just like Apple, I wish Apple all the success as long as it increases competition across all three platforms.
So in Todd's
we all agree with that.
He sounds like you're for it on the phone level. It's got a nice interface. It looks good, but you're obviously an Apple guy. But I think everyone can say we hope that it does well. Just we're not going to be using it.
I'm going to point out one more thing. All three of us, we have 2 Apple guys and 1 Android guy. We have no Windows guys. And
it's true on a phone, but I mean, I've got my MacBook Air here, or my MacBook Pro here, but I'm looking at 3 screens that are all running PCs as well, and then at home we've got a PC. So still, I don't think any of us can quite get away from it.
But you're transitioning out of Windows. I'm transitioning out of Windows, except for my Xbox.
That's true, and that's maybe.
That's the problem.
Kevin Carrot, what do you think if they would have introduced this interface
2 years ago?
Xbox? No, on the Xbox.
It is on the Xbox.
On the Xbox.
It is on the Xbox.
The same tiles is?
Yeah.
I have a good friend who has the phone. It looks really sexy. The phone does, and
what does he have? Like the Lumia
900?
I believe so. Yes. But it was like in a slate color. It looked really nice. He's running Windows 8. He loves it. He said essentially, it's just the user interface is a little bit easier. Not necessarily the tiles. He likes the tiles, but I mean there are a few benefits. And so I guess if you are, like Kevin said, if you're all Windows 100%, then it's just symbiotic and it works really well. But
I've got to give him props though for 2
so
things. One's for having the balls to do
absolutely.
it. To be honest with you, just to do it, because that's a bold thing for it. When you consider a company that's large and they're usually at the stage when they start to metastasize. The fact that they would try something fresh, I think, it's just really impressive. And then 2, I think the phone interface is pretty cool. I mean, I think it's the first innovative thing since the iPhone, since the iPhone's first OS. I don't think Android is very innovative. I think they've kind of copied, they've added widgets, but these guys try to take a whole new approach to that, and so I hope it plays out so that we've got another player in the phone OS.
I think they'll take 25%, but I think their computer domination will slowly diminish down to a very low amount, and I think over time Windows is going to be
how low? Like in 5 years, is it still going to be over 50%?
Yeah, but it'll. I think after 5 years, it'll drop under 50%. I think what we'll have is iOS and Mac OS, OS 10, and some of these other ones, Mountain Lion, and they'll eventually kind of merge, and they'll just be one OS. I think Android and Chrome OS will eventually merge and be one. But Windows 8 has already done it, which is what's impressive. But I think we're used to those interfaces, and I think eventually. I think it'll be a large percentage, 30 to 40% Google/Android, 35%. Now I'm trying to make sure I do my math right. So 40% plus 35% is 75%. So and then 25% will be Windows. So I think it'll go Android.
Wow, that Windows will actually be lower than the other two.
Eventually, yeah.
It could be. I don't think so. Only because Microsoft is still in a position and is showing that they have the ability and the guts to innovate. If they can innovate, they're the leader. I'd have to give the advantage to them. Yeah, the trends are going that way, but they got a lot of money. They've showed the propensity to
We've had this argument before, Todd.
I know. And I stand by that argument too. RIM had the chance, but they didn't show. Who would you rather be? Somebody with all the money and somebody with a huge market share, and things trending against you? If you can change and make the brave executive decisions to change, would you rather be them, or would you rather be an upstart that has an uphill climb no matter what, but you've got a little bit of momentum at your back? I think if they can innovate, and they've showed right here that they can.
Yeah,
if they can innovate at a level that people adopt it and they like it, I think they've got a good shot at maintaining their quite substantial lead in the PC world.
To quote Bill O'Reilly, I'll let you have the last word on that. I think we have, this is a long debate, and we could debate this. We'll save this one for another podcast. So, anyways, I just did your job, Garrett.
Well, I was trying to break in. It's first go around. Don't want to step on toes. But moving on, the new iPad Mini. It's I think getting
pretty awesome.
Kind of mixed reviews. It's I've tested it. I think it's awesome. I think the size is very on point. The way they did that, but we all know Kevin's a critic. So, and he calls it like he sees it. So let's hear.
What's your take, Kevin?
I think it's fantastic they made it. I think that it's I think the 7-inch, I think the 7-inch form factor is amazing. The first Android tablet I had was 7 inches. I loved it. I've had I don't know how many since. I think I probably own about 10 tablets. And my favorite tablet to date is the Nexus 7. So I think the 7-inch form factor is the best form factor personally for personal consumption, and I think it's a great device. I think that they did the Apple thing, which is left everything out so they can incrementally add it back in. I don't know if that helped or hurt, but I think it was a good move.
What things do you feel like they went bare bones on that they skipped out?
That screen for sure.
The Retina display.
The Retina display, I think that the processor is not. They basically took the processor from a couple iPads ago, and I'm misquoting, but let's just say this: the new iPad, the iPad 4, it doesn't have that processor in it, which I don't see why they couldn't put it in there. Like I said, like Todd's already mentioned, the screen, and then I guess other than that, what else? I mean, I guess. I don't know what the camera specs are. Does anyone know what the camera specs are?
I believe it's...
The front-facing camera is pretty good. The back-facing camera... the front-facing camera is better than the competitors at that size. The back-facing camera, I can't remember. I thought it was pretty good still.
I think it's...
It was either...
Is it 4G?
I think it was either 5 or 8.
You can do the 4G or the Wi-Fi. The two different options.
Is it 4G? Are we positive about that?
I know you can get it with your cell. I know you can get it with cell connectivity. If that's 3G or 4G, I'm pretty sure that's 4G. I'm checking right now pretty quickly. But here's one thing though that I really like, and this is where Apple gets it right. And I don't care if you're an Apple, hater and you just want to spout off every time they create anything because I don't know, you got little personal issues about you've got to compensate or whatever. But this is what Apple does really well is they blend beauty with a balance of enough features. And whether they're doing that for their own personal, hey, then we can upgrade later. Yeah, I think there's some business thought going into that. But they balance aesthetics with form and function. It's the age-old argument, form and function, and you can't always get something gorgeous with every single feature. So they look for the balance that seems to produce the overall best product, and that's where I think they hit the spot here. And it all comes down to this with me. It comes down to the thinness of the device. Now this is my iPhone, but the thinness of the device, I think, either directly or indirectly makes people think that device is more beautiful. And that's what they accomplish. Because you can hold up, a really nicely created HTC or something like that, but a lot of times they're fatter. And I think when people hold a device and it feels thin, it just feels more beautiful and elegant in your hand. And I think that is a feature that even if someone says they don't care about the thinness, when they hold it, it gives that ambiance of beauty. It just gives that feeling of beauty because it's so thin, and then the industrial design of it is obviously gorgeous. But they add that gorgeous design with enough features to keep them in the game. And they don't necessarily try to innovate on features and try to cram in every possible thing, but they add enough so that it's competitive. And that's where I think this comes out beating, like your Nexus 7 and things like that. Even though those have more powerful processors, better screens, I think they get that blend just perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
time and time again.
Even being an Apple guy, but going and holding one in my hands, kind of going through what I would use an iPad for, or any tablet for that matter, there wasn't anything really lacking that I was like, man, I wish it had this, that, or the other. It had essentially everything that I would use. I couldn't think of something that it didn't have. So I liked it, and it felt great. I think the design looks awesome.
Now, I'm sounding like the negative guy here. I swear, I'm not.
We know you give them props when they deserve it.
I think that it was a great idea. I think Steve Jobs ran his mouth a little too much with the making fun of Android 7-inch tablets. And now that they came out with one, I think it makes Apple could arguably say that we're innovators. We invented, like you said, Todd, we invented the new type of smart device with the iPhone. We're the first ones that came out with a really usable, good tablet with the iPad. iPad mini says we are now maybe running out of good ideas. We are now following. And I think that and the lack of innovation on the iPhone 5 is what's caused their stock to start dropping. And I think people are a little tired of the game. At the same time, I respect Apple. I want them to do well. I think the iPad mini is a good idea. My son's saying he wants an iPad, so I'm trying to talk him into the mini if he wants it, or try to talk him out of it and try to get him into my ecosystem with Android. Either way, I want Apple to start innovating. I like the iPad mini. I think it was a good idea. I think that the different devices they have is great. And again, we're probably opening up a can of worms here. I just think they need to start stuffing more options in there, but more features. But Todd, I will concede to what you're saying is you have a beautiful design, thinness. Johnny Ives, Sir Johnny Ives is doing amazing work. Obviously, who am I to judge his stuff? I think it's good-looking devices. And you weigh that, and they weigh it, and they seem to be doing well. They have more money than anybody. I mean, they've got a ton of money, and so I'm not gonna. I just, me personally, I think that maybe they need to probably start adding a little more, a few features and trying to get out in front a little bit more. But I like Apple devices. I think they're great.
All right.
So well, you guys have both heard my take, but I'll just give it, in public here to our mass audience. Basically, I believe Apple innovates as much as anybody else. They selectively innovate. Companies don't just innovate in every possible way. They're innovating in how they structure their company. They innovate how the manufacturing process. They're innovating in new products. No, companies selectively innovate. They choose where that innovation is going to go. I think Apple innovates when they launch a new product. They launched the iPad. I think that could be argued that was innovative, even though there were other tablet-type devices out there. They innovate when they bring out the iPad or the iPod because they're the first to really make the iPod sexy and lovable and
cuddly.
Have that kind of. What's that?
I said cuddly.
Cuddly. Yeah. That's innovative. So everyone wants them to innovate, but in the way they would innovate. And Apple selectively innovates when they bring out the iPhone because it's the first smartphone that has that touch interface that is so easy to use. And here's where they innovate. It's Da Vinci's old. Oh, what did he say when he said when we talk about. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And hand any two devices, whether it's a phone or a tablet, to a small child. And within 2 minutes, you're going to get your answer of who has innovated and who has mastered the device in a sophisticated way and in an elegant way. And any child, I mean, this is anecdotal, but I hear over and over people telling me, oh, I try to hand them the Android device, or I try to hand them this tablet, and over they want the iPad. And these are small children that aren't necessarily watching. They're not watching this marketing going on. They're not out there watching and think Johnny Ives' accent sounds sexy, and so they think he's an ultimate designer. These are my kids. You hand them a device, and they know how to use it. You hand them an Android device, and you're a little. All right. It takes them longer. Where do they gravitate, Kevin? Where do they gravitate?
In the mouths of babes, we know that.
Look. At the end of the day,
and that to me is the highest form of innovation.
I have a 2-year-old, and she can navigate my wife's tablet and her phone just fine. She loves it. So I think I don't know. I agree they're simple. I mean, I'm not
try the test. Hand it to an old person and hand it to a young person, and they have mastered simplicity and elegance.
You're right.
And that's one thing Android and Windows, everyone else is catching up on.
I'll give you to the pre-pubescent and the elderly. I'll give you that. I'll give it to you.
So we all know who likes what, and everyone's can appreciate certain aspects.
We can I'm gonna get the last word on this one since I gave Todd the last one.
Fair enough.
I think Apple makes great devices. I think that they are simple. They're genius in their simplicity, and I want them to be extremely successful. I want them to be as successful as they can as long as we keep competition. So, anyways.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Well, I know Kevin is going to be excited about this one because he is probably one of the first people that I know that actually has one in hand, the Nexus 4. And we can kind of talk about the 4, the 7, and the 10, but I know Kevin
is that a glass back I see on that? Now, who's playing catch-up?
And Kevin had to go on a scavenger hunt to get his phone, so he must be happy with it. It is a beautiful phone. It is a beautiful phone. It looks great.
I think it's gorgeous. So I have the Nexus 7. See, it's just upside down. I have the Nexus 7, and I'm doing a Robert Scoble here. And I have a Nexus 4. I'm planning on getting the Nexus 10 for Christmas, and as soon as I can find a Chromebook, I'll go buy it. In order to get this 4, I mean, it literally was almost impossible. Garrett can attest. I have 3 monitors here. I have 5 different browsers installed, plus my tablet and my phone, and I had all of them going 100% trying to buy this thing. Google, I just need to say Google gets an F on being able to handle the demand. I had to keep refreshing. I kept saying we're having errors and it can't process. This is Google. They are all about processing power, servers. That's what they do. They failed. They should be embarrassed. They should be really embarrassed in how they handled this. I finally got through. I thought, and I clicked, process my order, and it error. I got an error again, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to miss it. I didn't get this. I waited all night long, and I woke up the next morning and kept refreshing. I'm not going to get it. This is horrible. But then I got an email that said, "Oh, one went through." So I'm glad I didn't buy 20.
It was by sheer happenstance, though. Yeah.
But I will say that this phone is amazing. Feels fantastic in the hand, Todd. I think it's a lot thinner. I have the Samsung Galaxy S3 here. This is also a beautiful phone, but I just think the Nexus just feels so much better in my hand. I think it's better looking.
How's that raw jelly bean?
Look, anybody that goes to a Nexus device will never go back. The simplicity, going back to your point, of Android by itself, unadulterated Android, is just amazing. And I will never understand why Samsung, HTC, and Motorola, and LG for that matter, try to reinvent the wheel. It is amazing. I love it. I love my Nexus 7. But I think it's interesting that Google has got a pretty good Nexus family. I think hopefully that catches on, and so that we can really take the power away from the carriers. I think Apple did an amazing job sticking it to the carriers, and I just wish Google, Samsung, HTC, and Motorola and LG would do the same. And it's, I guess ASUS is in there, and Acer, and whoever else. These Nexus devices are great, though, and I suggest anybody that's looking into a phone, buy it from the Google Play Store. You get your updates before anybody else. Accessories are substantially better than any other phone. Motorola makes some good accessories. Samsung's making some good accessories, but normally when you get a Nexus device, people, other manufacturers of accessories usually tend to know that that's the one device they're going to come out every year, so it gets a little bit of the Apple effect. But Google took a page out of Apple's playbook. Apple does a lot right, and I think Google is following suit. And I think it's good. I think this Nexus 4 is gorgeous, and it's arguably the best screen. I know that Nexus 10 has the over 300 pixels per inch, which is compared to Apple's 265, I think 264. Mm-hmm. So they're doing some good things, and I think we finally have two equal players. But I wish more people would go this route as opposed to going through the carrier route. The main reason is I see people all the time saying, "Oh, I have an Android phone, and how do you like it?" "Oh, it's good, it's okay," but it's it's a year old and it doesn't work as well, and the battery sucks. And I just think that when you go through this type of purchasing process through Google Play Store, it's just a lot better process. But anyways, I'm a Google fanboy anyway, so.
What's the variety like on when you go in and try to purchase songs, or how's your experience been with that so far?
I don't buy songs. I usually go to Pandora. I know that's a little old school, but it hasn't failed me yet. I haven't really jumped on the Spotify train yet, so I don't really buy music. I do upload all my music I have to Google Music. I will say an advantage that Google has as far as the Android OS compared to Apple's, and I know there's plenty of Apples compared to Android, but one in particular is I can go to my Android device and open it up, and then go to my movies. If you can see this, I'll go to my movies here. And
what's their variety like?
Well, it's not
in Google Play.
It's definitely not as good as Apple's. I'm not going to say that it is, but I bought here. I bought the Avengers. Okay, and I can just tap on the Avengers and say, "Yeah, I want to play this," and now it's going to play. As opposed to I don't have to download it. I can if I want. So if I'm going to get on a plane or something, I can download it. So I've got it on a plane, but I don't have to, here it is, it's going. That's just something that's not, it's just not possible on an Apple device, and I don't understand why they don't do it. They need to get this cloud squared away and get this figured out, because I think that I just think
I'll agree with you on that. I think Google, or I think Apple has taken a long time to get anything going in the cloud, and they've been at it for a while now. I mean, this iCloud is just their latest branding of it. I think this is an area where they just totally I don't know, they just botched it.
Yeah, they are.
So far.
Everyone talks about Apple Maps as being kind of Apple's big blunder, but I think the cloud is a much more pressing issue.
I do. I agree.
There are apps that you can get on your phone and whatever else to replace the Apple Maps if you want to go a different route. But hands down, the cloud having a lot of stuff on the cloud. I mean, I use Google Drive way more than I use iCloud stuff, just because I know it's going to work at the end of the day. So,
hey, that brings up a question, guys,
Yeah.
because I'm the same. I mean, I probably sounded like an Apple fanboy there a minute ago, but I'm using a PC device. I'm using an Apple laptop right next to it. I'm using an iPhone, but like I have to kind of duct tape my Google stuff into my Apple device. You know, I use my Google calendars and I use my Google email on my iPhone because I just like that experience better, and I think that it ties in better with all my Google stuff. So what's the future of these ecosystems? Are these going to become more fiercely fortified walled gardens, or are we going to be able to continue to play amongst devices? Sometimes I feel like it's just going to get more and more frustrating for people like us that like to have our foot in each camp.
I think that eventually it will be walled. But I don't know. I mean, I think Apple, the venom that was, with Steve Jobs saying that that he's going to spend every dime he's got to take down, Android. I think that maybe have kind of left with him. I think the patents are starting to subside over time. I hope there's cross. I don't think Apple is going to be one that is going to say, hey, everyone, you can use FaceTime on an Android device. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think that Apple will allow it hinges on Apple. I'll just say that. It hinges on Apple. Whether Apple allows you to do FaceTime on multiple devices, on multiple OSs, I don't think that'll ever happen. I do think that it depends on Apple, whether Apple wants to say that, no, we're not going to allow Google Maps, or no, we're not going to allow Google Gmail, or no, we're not going to allow Google Plus with Hangouts. That's on Apple. I don't think Android's a little more of an open platform, so is Microsoft. I think it's on Apple, personally.
Because Kevin and I have done, like, where I've had been at home and used, since I'm an Apple guy and Kevin loves the Android route, that we've used Google Plus in lieu of FaceTime and other things, just because it's easy. And
let me put this out there as maybe a disagreement. I guess we'll kind of see. I think right now, as it stands, I agree with you, Kev. This is where I don't. I think any company is going to get more protective of their stuff as their market share increases. So as they become a bigger player, like I was saying earlier, I think businesses tend to get more protective and they play defense. It's like at the end of a football game and you play to not lose rather than to win, and so you start playing prevent defense and you start doing crazy things. I think companies are exactly the same. When their footprint gets bigger, they get more defensive because they're already making money through that venue and they can't lose that money. Where Apple, or where Google may be a little bit more open to things because they're trying to grow their market share in new arenas. So of course in the phone world they might be more open, but what if this Nexus 4 takes off, and let's say over the next 5 years their share, and now Android obviously has a huge share, even though that's spread amongst all the different manufacturers, but let's say their market share, the money that they make from a very large footprint in mobile grows, will they be as open? And I think no, human nature is no. That they won't be as open, that they will also become a walled garden. I mean, for example, I don't know if this is apples, but Google Plus, what we're on right now, we're doing a Hangout. Can I upload this into iTunes? I don't know if Google makes that easy.
Maybe.
I don't think they have an upload to iTunes button. I don't think, meaning my point is, I think people only play well when it suits their purposes.
That's a good point. That's a good point, because I think it does suit their purpose. And I think that I don't think Apple or Google, I don't think Google is doing it because they're trying to play nice. I think it is in their best interest to.
Why? Because they just want more people on the internet, and that equals more revenue from ads.
Bingo. Yeah. I don't think it's I don't think Google in the corner is sitting over there saying, let's just all play nicely. I think it's in their best interest. And I don't think it's in Apple's best interest, and so that's why they do what they're supposed to do. Of course, those of us look at it and say, I'd like it if everyone played and looked out for the consumer, but I would say that Google, again, I'm definitely biased, so you guys can tell me if I'm out in left field in this, but I do feel Google gives the impression as if they are attempting to play fair. But I think at the end of the day, they're looking at their stock price, and if their stock price tanked, and because they stay playing fair, then they would probably change that. But it is in their best interest to have Gmail on Apple. It's in their best interest to have Google Maps on Apple. It's in their best interest to have all of their apps on Apple. I don't know if it's necessarily in Apple's best interest. I just think if Google needs to make sure that they continually make it so they have a good market share in Gmail, that way it would so it stays in Apple's best interest to keep them on their device. Because if I said, hey Todd, you can get an iPhone, but you can't use Google Plus, well, not that you care too much about that, but if you said you can't use Gmail, or you never can use Google Search,
right.
You'd go, well, forget that.
Yeah, that would be a definite deterrent.
So the integration with we kind of veered off track a little bit. We talked about the 4, the 7, and the 10, and just how we would like that integration a little bit smoother with Apple products. But the next thing that I know, also kind of falling under the Google arena, wearable technology, specifically Google Glass, starting out. I remember when I saw the video for the first time, it blew me away, just that we haven't done this earlier, and I am so excited for it. I know Kevin is, and I know Todd is. So let's talk about what your expectations are for Google Glass and where you see it going for wearable technology within the next 10 years.
I'll chime in here first. I think to go to your last question first, I think wearable technology is huge. I saw a projection the other day that it's a $6 billion industry. I love those projections. $6 billion industry in 3 years or something like that. I think wearable technology is big because Apple and to some extent Google have made tech sexy, and people like to wear sexy. I think too that Google Glass is a cool approach to it. I think Apple and maybe some other players are gonna watch and see watch Google blaze that trail and then come out with something really sexier and cooler. But I think what they've come up with so far is pretty cool if it works and if people find application. I don't know if glasses are I don't know if that's the first application that people are going to take to. That might seem intrusive and a little scary and a little, I don't know, like it gets in the way a little bit. So I don't know if that was the best thing for them to plunge in with, but it's pretty cool, and I like the fact that they're out there, treading new ground. What do you think, Kev?
I think it might have glitched a little bit. We'll see if he can...
Are you in, Kev?
You there? Just
Well, Kev would probably come in at this time and just agree with me and say that was an excellent point, and I couldn't have said better myself. And Todd's usually right about this kind of stuff.
I think he'll be back on in a sec. I think he had to reset. But Todd, what did you think about? I don't know if you've seen the Nike Fuel Bands.
Oh, I love them.
Played around with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on their waiting list for a long time, and I was all anxious to get one. And then as soon as they finally sent me an email and said, "Oh, they finally came in and they're in stock again." But by then, I'd kind of lost interest. But I still think they're cool.
I've seen them and they're cool. A tad bit cumbersome. There he is.
Fuel Band.
They hate me. Google hates me.
See.
So
and you're their biggest fanboy. I don't know why they're cutting you off.
I know the phones and now the Google Hangout. You're just not on. You're on the naughty list.
Fail number 2, Google.
So, Kevin, we were talking about wearable technology. I don't know where your video cut out, but I threw in the Nike Fuel Band. That Todd thinks that the glass idea maybe skipping a few steps. And so, what do you think about starting at the Nike Fuel Band? Someone who's active. I mean, it's obviously an avenue that only certain people, active people, are going to wear. It's not. The application isn't for everyone.
I think Nike is the leader right now. I think if you look at the technology that they've come out with, no one is beating Nike. I mean, I have a Sony watch that didn't sync with my Samsung phone. I blame Samsung because I know it's going to sync to this. But anyways, that watch is cool. there's other watches that are out there that are cool, and the Google Glass is going to come out. You got the iPod that's turned into a watch. Well, it was until Apple changed that. But I think Nike is it. I think right now Nike's the leader. They probably,
why, just because of that one product, because of the fuel band?
No, they got the fuel band.
Or the little stuff with their shoes.
They
You know,
have
you
the
get the
shoes.
little iPod connection.
They had
or
the shoes. And then, I mean, I remember they had you know, I think, but name me another company that has, you know, I think I want to say Motorola. I probably shouldn't say this because I'm not 100% positive. Motorola has their little watch that integrates, but I don't know if it integrates with Nike or not. I'm going to have to look while I'm talking. But I just think right now Nike's positioned to really do some good things, primarily with what they currently already have with the fuel band and their shoes. And I just think that
I'd agree with that, Kev. I think Google is a little bit before their time on the Google Glass. I think it's really cool, but I think people are going to have a hard time adopting that. They think it is too intrusive at first. I think the two areas where you're going to break through and you're going to see the fastest adoption are in one, any kind of exercise, athletic type stuff.
Yeah.
People want to monitor themselves, they want to track, they want things like that. The second area is, I think, in kind of health arenas. It kind of has to do with that. You know, people are monitoring their blood, people are monitoring their heart rate. So I think with medical devices and athletic devices, you're going to find you're going to find a willing audience ready to adopt those types of things. I think things like glasses are going to take a little longer. I think the next thing, though, after those two, because I think you already see quite a bit of adoption of wearable technology with those two things. You start to see that anyway. I think the next thing, though, that people will adopt is the watch. Yeah. I think you already have a little bit of people on the outliers kind of gravitating towards it a little bit. Kevin, you had one for a while. I think the watch is the next step that will lead people to wearable technology.
I agree. I think the watch is the first step. I think the watch. So I have one. There's the Motorola Moto Act. It was Sony.
Okay.
The screen is horrible, but it's fun. It's kind of a gimmick, to be honest with you. But I'm excited I got this new phone because it'll now sync up with it again. You have the Motorola Moto Active. You've got that I'm Watch, which is that company out in Italy that made that really cool watch. It itself is the phone. You got the Pebble that's coming out. So there's lots of different phones. I actually saw another phone the other day. I was looking at watches, and there's actually another Android watch that came out that's substantially less expensive than I watch. Not as attractive, but I think the next two things are going to be watches. But I am just so jazzed for those glasses. I can barely handle it. I mean, they're $1,200, $1,500. The second those suckers come out, I am buying them. I mean, I wish I would have gone to Google I/O and bought my little glass thing, but I'm telling you, I'll wear those things all over the place. I don't care if I look like a nut.
Now, Kevin, you love anything Google, obviously.
Yeah, Kevin will grab the latest technology no matter what.
Well, I didn't buy the Nexus Q. That was lame. I'm not going to buy stupid stuff that's useless.
Okay, but like $1,200 is kind of steep. I mean,
well, look, and we can parlay this into green tech here in a minute. But the early adopters pay the money because they want to be early adopters, and then over time, the people like me that buy these things, they're the ones that get the capital running, and so then it lowers. Oakley's going to come out and say, Oakley's got those cool glasses with the MP3. You know they're going to come out and say, hey, look, we'll make that look cool. They're going to license it to Oakley. They're going to license it to, probably Fossil. I don't know. I mean, I'm just
okay, Kev, what are the applications that the glass will give, though? What are the one or two things, not for you, because you'll buy them because they're cool, and it's not lame, it's cool, but what are the two or three practical applications that you think would make glass something that the normal Joe will adopt?
Good question. I don't think I'm buying them for practicality. That's not really why I'd buy them. But let me think. So I think driving, putting those on, and making sure you keep your eyes on the road and having something off here on the side, as opposed to looking down at your phone or other things like that. I think that would be useful. I think
that would be kind of cool, actually. I mean, when you're riding off the side of the road and you start hitting those little divots, and it's like,
yeah,
cool if your phone starts kind of doing that when it says, when it notices that you're glancing down at your phone or something. It's like it starts vibrating or something, and it's like, hey, stupid, eyes back on the road.
I think
that'd be kind of cool.
There's that. I also think any type of active behavior, meaning you're running and you can see certain information right there on your screen, how many calories you. Yeah, you don't run with sunglasses in the summer.
Oh yeah, I guess I do. Okay.
I mean, we ran our relay with I wore glasses.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Going back to the active side of things, I showed Kevin. I don't know if I showed you, Todd, because wintertime I love to snowboard, love ski.
Oh yeah.
Oakley and Smith and I believe it's Zeal are the three that have a heads-up display on their goggles.
Yeah, dude. Heads-up friggin' display on the goggles.
Okay, but that stuff's all niche. For the normal person that's going to be out there.
Don't
it's going to make wearable technology mainstream. What's going to advance wearable technology to mainstream?
If it looks good. The cool factor, and if it looks good. At the end of the day,
looks good. That's what I'm saying. Not what attribute, but what product is going to make, and what usable application is going to make it mainstream.
Well, I can take phone calls on my glasses, right? So that's kind of cool.
You can take phone calls like hands-free.
Can Google Glass do that?
We're all assuming right now. We're making assumptions, but based on the video that they showed and Robert Scoble was on Twitter a couple weeks ago. He made mention that it, think about it this way.
Okay, I like that. And I'm not trying to pick. I'm just trying to say what could the things that Google Glass, what could they roll out that would make it be adopted by the normal person? Okay, so if you could make phone calls and your glasses have a little earpiece, I like that because I hate holding my phone up to my ear.
Well, imagine this. Imagine you're in the most beautiful city in the world, Paris, France, and you're walking around, and you're like, gee, I wonder what that building is, and you just look at it. I mean, again, we're making assumptions here.
And do a Morse code blink. You're like, that's my do a Google search blink.
It's the double like a nervous twitch.
Yeah,
again, I'm going off of the only one that's given any type of additional information has been Scoble. He mentioned that you can hold your hand like this for only so much time, but you can hold your neck perfectly straight and stare at something that's a lot easier, a lot longer. I don't know what brought that up. It makes me think that I would look at something and say, what is that right there, as opposed to pointing and my fingers moving around. It's just. I'm just perceptively thinking if I'm on a vacation and I'm wandering around the streets of Rome and I don't know anything, and this is or I'm walking around in the Louvre and I'm looking at different paintings and it's telling me all about it. That is just awesome. To me, that would just be. I mean, granted, it's not a more practical.
I would love that. Imagine like when you hover over something on a website and then the little meta thing pops up and tells you more about it. If it watches your eye hover on something for a certain amount of time, then a little pop-up comes up and says, would you like to know more about this?
Yeah. Would you like to know more? What movie? Nobody?
Would you like to know more? I'm guessing it's been said in about 50% of all movies.
Come on, Garrett.
I don't know.
Is it a Bond movie?
No.
Then
we're drawing a blank, Cav. You're going to have to help us out.
Starship Troopers. Would you like to know more?
It's been a while since I've seen that one. It's been a while.
Okay, I don't know, whatever. Sorry.
Okay, but next step in practical. Okay. Google Glass. If they can come out with a few things like that, and I'm not trying to do like you guys think it's going to be Google Glass. I think it's going to be phone because I don't necessarily think you're saying that. But I think, or not a phone, but a watch. I think a watch has so much practical application right now, and you have pent-up demand because you had these you got Pebble, you've got Kickstarter projects coming out every 2 weeks. When iPhone had, or when Apple had their iPod Nanos, you had new wristbands popping up all over the place on Kickstarter. I think there's pent-up demand right now to make wearable technology sexy, and I think Apple's going to do it. I think they're going to come out, and I think that's why they did their little change with the Nano, and I called that before they brought it up on Twit, and I thought I was awesome for doing that.
That's the way.
But I know. There's great respect all around, I'm sure, in my direction. But what I'm saying is, I think they're going to come out with a really sexy-looking, cool iWatch, and it's going to have 3 or 4 music features and maybe some notification features, and when new texts come in and new phone calls and stuff like that come in, and it's going to make wearable technology it. And then glass will come in a few years from now, because it's going to take a while for them to identify what are the apps that are going to make the killer apps on this device that are going to make it really practical. And I think it's going to take a little while.
So, but I agree. Okay, a couple things. I agree. I think that watches and eyewear are the 2 accessories now and so because of that, they're going to take off, and there's already products out there that do it. But I want to point out that I'm not 100. I'm about 25% sold that Apple's going to come out with a watch. I don't.
Hey, that's more than before. I'm chipping away at you.
Yeah, you are. But I don't necessarily agree with this statement, but there are tons of watches right now that offer cool technological. There's cool wearable tech right now, and they're almost all watches. But none of them are really doing that well. Why is that? If they're so pent up, pent up aggression.
Because notice all that pent up aggression was aimed towards the iPod Nano, not just towards any watch. The iWatch is going to be the iWatch is the what am I saying here? Apple's iWatch will be like the iPhone. There were other. You and I had a Windows device. You and I had a Windows phone. They had all kinds of smartphones out there, and then Apple did it right. That's the difference here. You had all kinds of tablets out there, and then Apple did it right. And it did that balance between aesthetics and functionality, and then everyone went crazy over it. And I would almost say that Apple's already been doing wearable technology since the iPod. The iPod, their little Nano and their little things. I mean, it was you're now wearing technology, and to have these little white things was cool. And I think they've been doing it for a while, and they roll right into it. And we'll be talking about the iWatch like we were talking about like we talk about the iPhone, in that it kind of moved an entire industry to the next level. Okay, so well, I hope so. I hope so. I'm not going to argue with that. Have you seen the iWatch, that Italian company, the iWatch I sent you? It was a while ago. Have you looked at those watches? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually tempted to buy one just for the sake of buying it, even though I guess I could have it work off of my phone's internet. I mean, they're gorgeous.
Well, then what you'll have, Kev, is you'll have Android come out with a watch operating system. I mean, they've already got it. Isn't your Sony run on Android?
It's an emulator.
A proprietary thing?
It's an emulator. So
okay, you'll have a dumbed down version of Android that is running your watch, and then you're going to have everybody. You're going to have all the big name brand watchmakers, just like you had with phones, come out with their version of it, and you'll have the same type of thing. You'll have I think you're going to see the same exact thing play out.
Imagine
you're going to have Android that's dominating as far as market share, but not making any money off of Android. But you're going to have all these manufacturers creating these smartwatches, and you're going to have Apple as with the biggest share of one device.
Yeah.
Just like they do now with smartphones.
Very well could be the case. I hope so. But imagine this though. With this watch, let me see if the screen sharing works. Can you see that?
No, not yet.
Let's see. Screen shares, that one.
Because who does simplicity and aesthetics and technology, the combination, that little trifecta there, who does that better right now than Apple?
So with these watches currently, right now, you literally could have, I mean, this is what's exciting. We could have the Dick Tracy watch right now. The technology is out there. With these iWatch, the problem is they didn't put a camera on it, which I think, in my opinion, is dumb. Like, if they put a camera on this, where I could walk around and be like, hey, what's going on, and talking into my wrist, even though
that'd be cool.
Even though I may look like a crazy person, I'd buy it. I mean, hey, what's going on? Yeah, just talking that way, that is just cool. I'm sorry, that is awesome. But we're getting there. So, we've had
And
discussions.
Apple will be the one, I think. Not
Let's
because
hope so. Let's hope so.
I think they're going to be the one that makes it into
makes it mainstream. And
yeah,
we've had
they're the ones that
discussions
make it
before.
mainstream because they do that balance right. Everyone else is going to be. You guys ever watch Gremlins when you were a kid?
I have watched Gremlins.
This is Garrett probably before you were born. But Gremlins, and they had that dad who was the inventor.
Yeah.
And he's like had a little widget that like brushed your teeth and changed your movie channels, and that's what everyone else tries to do with devices. They try to cram every feature they can, and the thing comes out looking like a clunky piece of crap. That's what he was doing, and at one time it's like squirting toothpaste all over the place. That's what everyone else is going to try to do with the watch. But there'll be some companies like Apple, and then I think you'll get the high-end watchmakers that are good at making things elegant, and you'll have your guys like that are going to perfect elegance, and that's one thing that Apple can do right from the get-go. Nobody else can really do that.
So look how beautiful these watches are.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, they look great.
The problem is there's missing a camera. That's it. If they just add a camera.
You know what else they're missing though, Kevin? They're missing all my songs already in them, and that's what Apple's going to have is a killer app right from the get-go.
That's a non-issue. That's a non-issue.
They're going to have iTunes right from the get-go.
Well, let me tell you why. Well, according to that,
these guys don't. These guys don't. And so they're all starting behind the 8 ball.
They're going to need They're going to need Android to actually. They're going to need Google to actually make the UI, just like Apple.
Yeah.
But all my music's on here, but as long as I have Pandora on this, I don't care. So
I'll agree with you on that.
These things are gorgeous. I'm seriously so close to buying one of these.
How much are they?
The $300, which at first I think they were $600. That's why I kind of went, I'm not going to deal with it. But they're about, let's see, they're $389.
What is their application, other than being beautiful, which I think is a fantastic feature, what other application do they have? You said they don't have a camera. What do they bring that is smart, that makes them a smartphone, other than just a gorgeous... I keep saying phone. That makes them a smartwatch. So, what application do they have?
So what they have, and I'll just pull this. I'll show you this again because. So right here. Okay, so it's got. You can actually make a phone call. To the watch, obviously. It's got the address book. It's got notifications that brings in Facebook, Twitter, Foursquare. Weather forecast, iMusic.
Social notifications, and they have phone.
They have Facebook. They have images. They have multitasking, so that's a little jab. iMotion, which doesn't seem to be important at all to me. You can tweet, and it's got kind of an RSS feed coming in.
How do you input for a tweet? Is it voice recognition?
Valid question. I'm sure you're going to have to do.
Even input for a phone call.
Tiny fingers, Todd. Tiny fingers.
So right up here,
very small. I do have thin and dexterous fingers.
You do.
Okay, so if you've got Vienna sausage fingers, this is not the
then
watch
you're screwed.
for you.
I actually do have kind of bigger fingers, bigger hands, so it might be a little bit.
So good luck with that one.
Your bare paws are not going to work on this watch.
No,
it's easy, Kev. You just sync it up with your computer. You hook in a cable up to your computer, and then make a phone call. It'll be that convenient.
It's that easy.
Just 10 simple steps to make
10 simple steps, and you're on a phone call.
Look, I hope Apple comes out. I hope Apple does it, because if Apple does it, all the sheep will follow. So I hope they do it. Just like I hope I was hoping they put NFC on the iPhone 5 because if
Kevin,
they did, then
Apple's going to put a man on the moon, and they're going to make that sexy. They're going to make space travel sexy.
No, I think that's Elon Musk, honestly, but that's okay. Or Bronson, whatever his name is, Sir. What's his name?
They're going to come out with their brand of hummus, and people are going to start eating that
hummus
like crazy for every holiday.
Yeah. All right. Well,
all right. So
we all love wearable tech, and we hope it comes out very soon. And the stuff that's out there is kind of cool, but we're waiting for cooler stuff.
So
wait. Let me just throw this in before we wrap up this topic, Garrett.
All right.
Greatest applications for wearable tech. I think is anything that's solving a problem that we have now or that wows us. But have you seen some of these? What was it I saw? Some guy, you hook this on your belt and you you actually drag this little tail, and it generates this kind of parlays into our green energy. Yeah, it's wearable tech that you just pulling this. You're pulling this little caboose behind you that hooks on your belt and drags, and there's wheels on the ground, and it's actually generating electricity.
You know, I think would be even
I think that's
better.
Going to be adopted.
The little push things at preschoolers where the balls are popping inside. If you can charge your phone off that, I think that would be great.
Well, I think this goes right into the green tech stuff. is what's going to move in the green tech world? Was that our next topic anyway?
Yes, that's.
Yeah, I think it's going to be anything that uses actions that we're doing already. And are people going to attach this little energy tail onto their belt? I doubt it. But or your little. I like that little pop idea. The little push thing that pops up.
Yeah,
that'll be kind of cool. But I think like one I saw that was pretty cool is this treadmill that actually you power. It's just really a hamster wheel, and it generates like 1 million hertz or 1 million ohms. Gigawatts. 1 million gigawatts of power.
I think that let's not dwell too much on the green topic because we've exceeded our hour. But I think the green tech needs to be on a grand scale. I don't think charging my cell phone in my car is really taking that much electricity. What I think what needs to be solved is how do I power my car? How do I power my house? How do I do all these other? How do I power my office without having to be on the grid? That's what I think. I think that's the main thing.
You and I can agree on that. What do you think, Garrett?
Well, I agree, and Kevin and I have talked about green technology, like being able to power your whole home via whether it's a small windmill or solar panels or whatever, but being a self-sustained. I think coming full circle, going from when we were talking about Windows 8, that everyone just loves a good, well-oiled machine that are all encompassing, all of your devices, whether it's cell phones, TVs, and gaming system, all the way to your home, your car, everything else, that you're self-sustained. Everyone just kind of wants to have everything work well.
Here's something that would solve a problem that involves green tech. How do I make it so my cell phone number dies without having to plug it in? If you could somehow figure out a way to get a solar panel on the back, or even solar panels like on your clothes or a hat or something that is efficient enough that'll charge my devices all the time, I'd use it. I hate my battery dies.
Calculator.
Yeah, the only problem is your phone is in your pocket and isn't getting a lot of sun rays. But it may be getting enough while it's sitting on your desk and your windows open.
If it's sitting on my desk or if I'm in my car.
It doesn't need much. Have you seen that cool thing? I don't know if it's concept. I think it's still concept, but they're looking at rolling these out. I think in Tokyo or something. The benches that you sit in and you plug your phone into, and just in the
that's
subway.
A good idea.
And as the train comes by, there's so much wind energy that comes through that they've got two little fans on either side of the bench, and so if you sit there, it's a free charge for your phone. That's kind of cool. But I like the solar power thing. I think but I really, Kevin, I do agree that it all needs to be big, but I think it's got to be death by 1,000 slices. I think you just chop these with small little incremental things. Like, have you seen those windmills? They're about twice as big as this. They're about twice as big as a basketball, and you put 15 of them on the side of your house, and they're little windmills, and they'll power a house of 4 for like a year, or if they're going all the time. I think it's stuff like that. I think a big solution would be a technology that you can just purchase that for not that much and just slap on the side of your house that does that. A la a solar panel. So
let's kind of take what we've talked about today, leaving off on green technology. Hopefully we get some users wanting to watch these and can submit some topics for next time, some user-submitted questions, comments, concerns, and we can go over those next time that talk a little bit more about green technology and then opening it up for further discussions. But I think this one is a good catalyst that we can open up some more stuff. So let's go
Love it,
ahead
Garrett.
and call it a
Thanks.
day. Yeah,
Hey.
and great great discussion, and we'll pick it up next time.
All right, guys. We'll see you
Sounds
later. All right,
Take
see
care.
you.
Bye.